G'day fellas and welcome to a casted game. Spawning in on the east side of the map, we've got Textual Cloud 409, who we're just going to be calling Textual Cloud, who is playing the Chinese, spawning in on the east side and in the color blue. Going to be dropping down a mill nice and early. Got a couple of sheep already. No double scout opening, instead going to be going straight for the Imperial official. This guy is currently rank 66 on the ladder. This game is live right now. We don't know which way the outcome of the game will go, but I'm rooting for China because on the other side of the map, we've got Goliath playing as the Red Russ. And he is, for anybody unfamiliar with this guy, Hut, a fellow Australian. So he is a very good player at the moment, currently sits at rank 65 on the ladder. And so very, very close to rank 66. In fact, I don't think you could get closer unless they were tied. But they're not tied because they are different ranks. And yeah, he's going to be playing the Russ. So Russ, obviously, very, very recently nerfed in the most recent patch. And the map, of course, is King of the Hill. This map is really quite a closed-off map. But towards the center of the map, it can be open depending on what the front of the bases look like. And we have a look at, take a look at how Goliath's base has spawned, or Hut's base has spawned. So yeah, I'll probably just be calling him Hut. He has got absolutely no stones on his side of the base, on his side of the map at all. It looks like it just looks like an Arabia, doesn't it? Like there's nothing here. Compare that over to his opponent, Textual Cloud, though, and we've got just an absolutely defensive spawn. I'm pretty sure that should be walled off because these two, the bottoms of these two trees overlap. So you can see how the circle is like that. I think that should be fine. So that's technically walled. And then you could just wall across here as well. You're completely fine. And then down towards this position, I mean, that's already walled in. Like, you got the perfect wall here, and then you just wall off like that. It's, you know, sometimes you get them, sometimes you get got. But China is going to be especially happy with their spawn. Rus probably going to be happy with his spawn as well, but Hut making a little bit of a mistake right here is he's probably going to be losing out this scout. I think it's got 25 damage on that, and indeed he does lose his scout, so going to be the first loss of the game going over towards his opponent. We actually did see a second scout come out of Textual Cloud, so dropping down an Imperial official and a second scout. So not a bad opening from him. I would say it's a pretty safe opening, but yeah. And now over back on Hut's side, so he's up to 175 bounty at this point in time. Killed a couple of his deer, rather his sheep. Now going to be looking for these deer down at the south. I'm going to be able to age up. Got the Golden Gate going to be going down at the front of his base. No surprise there. This guy does want to win the game, so he's not going to be going for the Kremlin, though. Obviously, if you did actually watch the Winter Championship from EGC TV, we did see the Kremlin come out 3 times, and it won every single time. So, who knows? Maybe the Kremlin's the overpowered one. But, no, in all seriousness, Golden Gate, good landmark. Good landmark. But, now, beginning to build up those numbers on the wood line. Probably going to be looking to drop a wooden fortress somewhere around here. Up towards the north, he's got his wood line. He's got multiple wood lines up here. This one's a little bit smaller than the usual, though. So this one only with 35 trees in it. Compare that over to this side, which is probably going to have much more, though that scout is just running past it right now. There we go. That's got 70. So you can see it's got double the amount of wood in it, but it's still a pretty decent amount because this one here, it's only got 16 in it. So it's you've got like, this has got twice the amount of this, and then this has got twice the amount of that. But Goliath slowly but steadily aging up, and now we've got a Barbican of the Sun going to be going down here. Probably going to get cancelled because that deer carcass is there. He just doesn't know about it at this point. Textual Cloud going up against Goliath with 255 bounty at this point in time. Idle, idle, idle. Now he realizes, oh, I can make that, and he makes it right there. Really, really nice spot. Going to be so difficult for Hut to come in here and take these deer. He's going to be able to use this hunt as well. Dropping down at 409, and is moving over to villages on stone. So 4 villages on stone. He's actually got the IO on that as well. Does he have an IO down here? Indeed he does. So he's got double IO out. A little bit of an inefficient wood gathering line here. Typically, because he's moved all of these guys over at the same time, essentially that you've got this problem where they're all doing, you know, different trees, and ideally you want these guys up here on these trees that are a bit closer to the lumber camp. But now it looks like the scout's going to be heading back towards the base of Textual Cloud. He's managed to pick up 4 sheep at this point, so he's feeling pretty decent. That's not a bad little haul there. But compare that over to his opponent, and we'll have a look exactly what Hut is up to. No professional scouts coming in just yet, but a lot of wood that is stacked up right there. He's actually going to be going for a double town center play, and we know this just because the fact that he's already sold out some of his resources for stone. So he's going to be looking to drop down a second town center. Obviously going up against the Chinese, it's important to remember that they are typically going to be your big boomers. But we've got quite a late town center coming in here from Textual Cloud. So I think the fastest town center with China you can get is about 450. And that's 450 dropping it down on the ground. And I think that's in best circumstances as well. But just to show you the difference between the build orders, like we're sitting right now at 530. So 40 seconds later, and he still doesn't actually have the resources to get it. So it can really show you the difference. Like, can you imagine if this guy had an optimal build order, just how much further ahead he would be of where he is right now? Like, we're basically talking a minute behind where he should be. He's got the resources to drop down what he needs. He's actually going to be going out to his hunt. Looks like he's going to be dropping it down there. So looking to protect both of his hunts, but this is so dangerous. And I would advise against this every single time, especially if you're playing China. Ideally, where you'd be wanting this second town center is like right here. Probably not even there. Like, I would probably just be going back here like that. And you want to keep it safe and defensive because playing up against the Rus, highly likely that they're going to hit you with a ram timing push, you know, ram with men at arms, something like that. Or just, you know, even age 2, just playing, you know, triple range, something like that up against the China. It's very likely, but it looks like we're going to have a couple spears coming out from Hut early. Not sure exactly what the idea is with this, but you can see that he's rallied them over towards his opponent's hunt, or where the town center now is. So he's going to be able to scout that one out, and second town center going to get dropped down for Hut as well. So he's down on the berries here, but he's also got the hunting cabin that is out over here as well. But on the wood line, it's a great little spot that he's got. I'd be curious to see whether he looks to go for a 3 TC or whether he's just going to go for, I guess, the safer play, which is the 2 town center play. But we'll keep an eye on his tickets. We'll see exactly what he gets up to. But I wouldn't be surprised to see him dropping down a 3rd town center. He's going to spot out that 2nd town center from his opponent now. 7 minutes, and he does lose the 2 spears there. So a costly scouting exercise, but a necessary one. Barbican of the Sun still standing out here steadfast. And now we can see from the resources that currently sit in textile, or rather the villager allocation that is here for Textual Cloud, that he is looking to age up to the next age. So he's got 7 villagers on gold, 19 on food, absolutely nobody on wood at this point in time. So he is really focused on aging up. Going to be dropping down the Imperial Academy as well. So looking to get that dynasty out. Now, a little bit of a misplace on this Imperial Academy. If it's just one more tile up towards the north, he's able to get this... he's able to get the mining camp in the AoE, because you can see it right there, or the AoE, and he's able to get the mill in as well. So a little bit of a misplay there, but not a big deal. It's going to be increasing the tax of this mill, and over the course of the game, it's probably going to amount to something like an extra 200 gold. So it's not a big deal. But obviously, it's important to optimize those little things. It's about getting the little things right before you're able to sort of move on to those medium-sized things. But now, double stable going to be going down for Hut here. Judging from the way that he's macroing, it looks like he probably wants to get up as well. Doesn't look like he's gone for a 3rd town center, at least not in this point. But we see that behind this he's gone for the wheelbarrow, as well as survival techniques probably going to be coming through as well. Slowly chasing down the scouts of his enemy. We're yet to see any of these deer carcasses go over to either player at this point, but you can assume that with that Barbican of the Sun, it's probably not going to be going over towards Hut. Not going to be having a good time at all with it. But now underneath the town center, gathering up those deer, nice and safe there. And up towards the north, he's still got this hunt that is quite open to him. So Textual Cloud could look to potentially punish that. A lot of units being trained out here, and we can tell just simply because there's no resources in the bank here. He's got the barracks. No archery range getting dropped down at this point in time. No tickets being used, but the double stable is out, and there is a potential punishment window that can come through for here. Is he able to get through here? Or I think he might be able to get through here and then like come up over and around like that. So I think we thought that this was walled. But, yeah. I don't know whether he can get through there. It does... no, he can get through there. Okay, alright. Hut might be able to push the issue here, but it's a very nice natural defense that Textual Cloud has got here. I really like the play from him. He's got 9 villagers out here on this town center as well. So a very smart player, not keeping more than 10 out here. Players will often rally extra villagers out here, but keep in mind this town center can only hold 10 villagers at a time. So that's it. If you've got 11 villagers here, 10 of them go inside, 1 of them stays outside, it's going to die. So make sure that you're just keeping 10 there, or at least that you're able to defend it. Behind this, you can see Textual Cloud macroing for that age up. He's realized that he's made a bit of a mistake and got a few villagers now over on wood as well. So looking to drop down. You can see that barracks is coming out as well for him. He's maxed out at the moment with regard to his population, but he has obviously scouted out the units from his enemy. He knows that he's not heading up to Castle Age. He has scouted out the second town center as well. But keep in mind, as China, you're still going to be ahead of an opponent that looks to go to TC Boom, just because if you do go for this Song Dynasty, which he has, you're going to have a much lower villager production time. So we can see it there, 35% being reduced down. So it goes from 20 seconds down to 13. The equivalent of a full second town center. So you go up to 3 town centers, whereas your opponent is on 2. Or at least that's what you produce villagers like. You produce villagers like you're at 3 town centers. But now it looks like he was indeed able to get through this little choke point. So going to be able to exploit that. Now I don't think Textual Cloud necessarily thought that that was locked in here. But it's good to know that he's able to get through from that angle. Also not going to be able to get scouted out. Now heading in towards the wood line here, Textual Cloud does have a spear nearby. He is rallying up them up towards the north side. Astronomical Clock Tower has gone down. Now it looks like a raid going to be coming in. First 2 villagers do go down, unfortunately for Textual Cloud. He's got that bit of a villager lead, 55 at the moment versus the 51. But now Imperial Official almost going to be going down. Takes 2 shots to the face, down to 37 health. And those knights going to be able to get away. Couple of spears out as well, looking to get in on the wood line and just being very annoying. Textual Cloud aging up to the next stage, 11 minutes 30 at the same time. Hut going up as well, and very nice use of the spears here to bait the other spears back in and then get the charges off once they've got their backs turned. So a really nice move. And now they're looking to try and trade out. You ideally want your spears focusing down the enemy cavalry. Don't have them fighting against the spears because that's going to be very difficult. But now we see this situation up towards the north where a raid begins. 5 villagers entering in. It looks like a few were murdered. So Hut is definitely trying to put the hurt on nice and early and has gone up with the Abbey of the Trinity. We do see Warrior Monk's going to be coming out very soon. He's up to 490 on the bounty. So very, very nice work with regard to that. And these villagers now trying to make their way towards the town center, and you can see the difference between these. Hut somehow managing to squeeze out all of these extra units and still get up to the Castle Age at basically the same time as his opponent, still able to do that double town center play. So it really goes to show, the difference between build order superiority here, and Hut just really having the number of his opponent. I mean, he's just very well demonstrated how capable he is as a player. I love the fact that in this situation as well, he didn't go for archers. Archers are typically a bit of a, not necessarily a waste, but I feel like it can be very difficult playing with archers. You kind of want to commit to a heavier age 2, but just going a few spears really helps out, especially if you're going up against, a mass horseman build, which is something very common that Chinese players will actually do. But now these spears continuing to look to take out these knights. Now keep in mind, these knights are not like French knights. They do not have that passive heal ability, so when that spear gets the nice little pick on the edge there, it's able to kill it. Kill the knight, and these knights aren't going to be able to get away and heal up. Villager managing to survive with 3 health. He does have that textile upgrade coming in, and doing a pretty decent job, Textile Cloud is right now of holding this off. Triple barracks is going to be coming down, so probably going to be looking at that men-at-arm combination with the spears together with springalds, maybe a few of those Nesta Bees coming out as well. But Textual Cloud going to be continuing to chase his opponent around, and I want to have a look at the villager count, because at this point in time, Textual Cloud would be in a massive lead if it wasn't for the fact he's lost so many villagers. At the moment, he sits on 67 villagers. Goliath or Hut sits on 66. So just right behind him is managed to keep up with that. And keep in mind that behind this, he's got warrior monks that are going out onto the map, grabbing those relics. He's got the second one coming out right now. So that's going to be looking to secure it up. Also, the Sacred Site is a potential threat as well. Nesta Bee is going to be coming out. Let's see if it gets off any shots. Nope. Just decides to sit down casually and mind its own business. All right, we'll watch this warrior monk on the way back in, and we'll talk a little bit about, actually, he's not on the way back in, he's just hanging out, but he's got a second one out here that's going to be heading out towards this relic. I'm just going to grab a drink, but I want to talk about the most recent change to the warrior monk, because that is an absolutely huge change. Okay. Sorry, that's me just topping up on the waterfront. These knights still running around. It looks like they're going to get picked up slowly. You can see 7 health left on that bad boy. So warrior monks now have a reduced speed, and this is much better than what it used to be. So there used to be no counterplay. Essentially, the Rus player was able to run in, snag a relic, and run out. 190 health on this bad boy, and no one could really contest it. But that's changed now. Because in the most recent update, one of the nerfs that came through for the Rus was that their warrior monks have a reduced amount of speed when they're carrying a relic. And so it means that instead of being 1.64 movement speed, they're 1.22, which is massive. That's a huge difference. And it means that units like the knight, the horseman, are actually able to chase them down and prevent that relic from going over to the Rus player. Now, obviously in this situation where you still have a lot of map control versus a player like the Chinese, it's not really going to make that much of a difference, but against civilizations like the French, the Delhi, the Mongols, which are going to fight you for it, it makes it a lot harder to actually keep those relics, and it forces you to actually trade out your warrior monks. Towards the middle of the map, it looks like the sacred site has been turned over towards Hut, and now it looks like Textual Cloud going to be coming out here, putting on a little bit of a show, but not too much. He's got the Springald out as well as triple nest of bees already. This is quite big. My main concern is he doesn't have anywhere near enough spears to defend it, though. So I want to see a lot more spears coming out from him. So mass spears, mass men-at-arms. Down towards the south, looks like Hut has picked up the first of the boars, so always important to go for these boars. As the Rus, you're typically going to be securing them a lot earlier than other civilizations as well, because you get your bounty from them. So make sure that when you do it, you utilize them in this way. So instead of going onto farms, like you can see back here, Hut still yet to put down a single farm around any of his buildings back here at the 16-minute mark. He's still got this hunt back here, seven deer over this way. So, you know, he's got a huge amount of food. But now, looks like 4 out of 5 of those relics have been picked up. Actually, I take it back. We've had 5 out of 5 get picked up as... where is that monastery? There it is. So there was a last remaining relic was down here in this corner. And the 5th relic that was picked up was over there. Or 4th, rather. Relic was over there. Nest of Bees getting off some decent shots, and now Hut going to be going up against the Wrath of the Chinese. 4 Nest of Bees back here, 2 Springalds. Springalds coming out somewhat preemptively, getting off some pretty decent coverage right there, and now going to be turning their attention towards the front line, actually doing a lot of damage. Those Springalds also back are doing a real amount of damage. I suspect we might see some villages potentially pulled out here, as the Chinese player actually does pretty decently. I'm impressed at how well he held there. There was a lot of units that went down. Those Nest of Bees really demonstrating their strength. And now we do have Springalds coming out from Goliath, aka Hut. He's also dropping down a wooden fortress. Villagers here on the front line, probably not too long for this world if he's not careful. The Springalds are firing off on it. The Nest of Bees are going to begin to readjust. You can see the Springalds firing down into the valley. These bad boys have got 300 health on them. So it's going to take 3 shots from the Springalds to take them out. But now we can see that they're positioned really well here below the valley. Spears coming up, trying to hold on this front area, and just raining down terror on these on these horse archers, having an absolutely great time. Look at the damage that comes out. They completely destroy them. Really utilizing this cliff very well. So there's a little bit of a terrain glitch that happens. You can see how they're sitting underneath. I'm going to try and yell up over the top of them because it gets so loud. So essentially the Springald can't see them. It needs line of sight, and it doesn't have like direct line of sight, so it can't get the bolt off to shoot them. So it moves forward, and then Hut his opponent rather, Textual Cloud, moved up and then just sniped it. So that was how the Springald went down. Now he's got another Springald coming out, but really smart move to come in and attack from that angle. I don't know if that's intentional or not, but it is really annoying to attack from that angle. Huge amount of villagers now coming out for Hut. He's up to 92 at this point in time. His opponent on 110. So Textual Cloud definitely peaking right now. 110 villagers is quite a fair bit. And he's continuing to add upgrades coming in right now. He's got the +1 as well as the +1 defense. And farms now getting added in as well. He's looking really good at this point in time. I'd be very happy if I was in this position as him. The main issue that you've got is that you're going up against this sacred site, and playing up against the Rus late game, there's a small window for you where your late game is stronger than theirs, but it's not a very big window. And you've got to be so careful going up against the Rus, because if they manage to exploit it and get there before you, it's just going to be a good game, even up against the Chinese. So I feel like this game is really going to determine who is the king in the late game, because when you're going up against the Chinese, let me explain how it works. The Chinese Bombard is a really good unit. It gets an extra 2 range over the enemy civilizations. It can be countered by Culverin, but the Culverin don't very effectively counter it. There's only really one unit that effectively counters it, and that's the Springald. And that is the Rus Springald. And that's because the Rus Springald has extra range. It has an extra 3.5 range over the base range. So the base range is 10. It's got 13.5. Which means 1.5 range extra against Bombards. And the Bombards are able to defeat everything. So the Rus are able to beat that. And because they're able to beat the Chinese bombards, the Chinese player has to resort to actually making units, because the Chinese player can't go siege, because if they do, they're just going to be absolutely traumatized. Speaking of traumatized, though, villages going down. It looks like 3 villages down so far. 4 villages going to be dropping down. Heading back towards this Barbican of the Sun. Nice little raid coming through. Textual Cloud going to need to be dropping down a wall here if he wants to prevent that from happening. Probably just 2 50 wood segments is going to be more than enough to shut that down. But you can see the massive Springalds beginning to build up for Textual Cloud as well. So really just focusing on the offensive. And now behind the lines, it looks like this raid has gotten through, doing quite a bit of damage. And Textual Cloud beginning to fall down on village numbers, down to 114, Hut on 102. So beginning to close that village gap, down to 12 difference between these two players. And this is the point really where you got to start wondering about Imperial Age. Hut, on one hand, has got the Sacred Site. We know that. We know that he is going to be looking at that Sacred Site victory as a potential play. So he needs to make a decision. Do I fortify this Sacred Site and look to actually win here? Or do I just treat this as a motivator for my enemy? And if so, you know, to what extent, or when do I want to start thinking about aging up? Now, Hut, he's gathering up a lot of stone behind this. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a second castle get thrown down right there. Maybe I would have had it a little bit closer to the Sacred Site. I would have like had it almost right on top of it. And then that way you can wedge your Springalds in between it. It's very difficult for them to get out. He's got all of the upgrades there for his castle. And look at the Lancers, or the Knights now getting onto the villager line. They are having absolute, just what a party in the, like, it's a party in the wood line right now. Look at all the dead villagers on the ground. That is absolute, like, it is massacre. It's genocide. Call NATO, call the World Health Why are we calling World Health Organization? There's one that we've, 3 minutes until Sacred Victory. There's someone that you have to call. I don't know who it is. I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't do enough massacres. I don't do enough genocide to know who I should call. But speaking of massacres, speaking of genocide, now on the front lines, it looks like Goliath is now coming in on the front line, or rather, Goliath going to be defending the front line as his opponent, Textual Cloud 409, begins the push in, looking to drop a keep on the front line here as well. We see the battering rams have gone underneath the first keep. Where did they go? Actually, oh no, they're on there. I think they got stuck on the wooden fortress. Now going to be heading towards the main keep, but he's lost the majority of his spears, which were on the front line, died to the boiling oil, and now going to be looking to take out this first keep. He's got plenty of siege that's back here. Just a huge amount of Chinese siege, but keep in mind at the same time, where is that raid? Has that raid continued? Has that raid finished? Has it ceased and desisted? Looks like he might be bringing more villagers up towards the north. I think that raid probably got killed. But now the second minute of Sacred Site victory remains there. Is 2 minutes, 120 seconds to go. Textual Cloud moving towards the middle of the map. He is definitely looking to take the game at this point, Goliath. You can see the amount of units he's got behind this. Plenty of villagers looking to back this one up. A second castle has now made it up. Plenty of trebuchets out here as well. 3 trebuchets and Mangonel. Mangonel going to potentially look at sniping out those villagers. He's going to be putting down another keep on the exact same place that he had it before, managing to whittle down the majority of those Lancer units, or Knight units, and he's actually taken it out. There's a couple of Springalds in the back, still sniping out. We can see the Mangonels now coming in, actually doing a pretty decent job, and Textual Cloud looking to push, looking to win. You can see he's moved up he's got the single nest of bees that's managed to move up. It's going to begin trying to take the Sacred Site. Now now the Springalds going to be looking to do it. Villagers moving across as well. Mangonel going to be able to fire out a decent shot onto the center point, but keep in mind he's got multiple castles that have now been built up. These nest of bees just really aren't that effective when it comes to sieging this down. Second nest of bees going to be moving up onto the Sacred Site, looking to hold this position down. I think he's probably going to be able to capture it. There's no other units in the center here for Hut, and the Sacred Site does get captured. Less than 2 minutes to go, and he manages to keep himself in the game. Villagers in the middle of the map going to be trying to heal up that keep. Unfortunately, not having enough time. It does go down, and now continuing to tee off towards his opponent. We can see the trebuchet difference is really making quite a big impact here as well, as Textual Cloud continues to suffer losses when it comes to his infrastructure, whereas Goliath only still at this point losing the 1 keep on the front line. Second keep slowly getting healed up at the back. We do a little bit of a comparison between these two players. 104 villagers for Hut at this point in time, 83 for Textual Cloud, so he's managed to swing the lead significantly in favor of himself. He's done a great job here at this point in time. Still firing off behind this. You can see the 3 trebuchets just having an absolute field day. Nest of bees continuing to fire off, teeing off on the keep. Not having a lot of success though. You can see it's got 8 tiles of range on that versus I think it's 8 as well on this bad boy. Yeah, 8 for that as well. Keep going to be going down. You can see it slowly trickling, and there she goes before the villagers could make it. Trebuchet is going to be turning their attention towards the next keep up towards the north. I think that's the 3rd keep that's gone down, 2nd in that position. And the Nester Bees now beginning to fire off. This is the consequence of making these pushes before you hit Imperial. Can you think about how different this would have been if we were in Imperial and we had bombards that were out? These keeps would have been sieged so quickly. All the villagers just getting absolutely evaporated right there. Nester Bees doing a great job managing to take out a whole bunch. Jeez Louise, this is an absolutely insane engagement between these two players. Textual Cloud somehow manages to force the Sacred Site out, still manages to hold on. At this point in time, players' scores are looking relatively even. You've got about a 1,000 point difference between the two, but still at this point in the game, a lot of that score is going to be going over to Trebuchets, which, as you guys know, I'm not a big fan of. But Textual Cloud somehow managing to hold on. We'll check in with his villager count. He's up to 93, managing to rebuild. He's got Imperial officials that are in the queue at the moment. But other than that, not looking to really establish much more of an economy than he's got right now. Doing a bit of long distance chopping back here. But players definitely starting to feel the pain when it comes to the length of this game. We're at the 26-minute mark at this point in time. And now we begin to see the siege unfold. This is how a lot of these late game situations actually unfold in Age of Empires 4 when it comes to just sort of the trebuchets, the keeps being built up. And then once we get to Age 4, it's going to be a little bit different because the bombards are going to come out. That's when things really start to change. And I would expect at this point, the player that reaches the 4th age first and doesn't manage to die is probably going to win the game. And that's on the condition that they actually make a push. That's really what it comes down to. Actually, you know what? I take it back. I think there's a window for Textual Cloud to win if he gets to Imperial first. But Hut will just win it otherwise. The Imperial for Hut is going to be way too strong for the Chinese to deal with. You can see him now again coming in. So really, you know, doing the no wall challenge doesn't really help you in this position. You can just wall this right here. You can just do a nice little wall across the front like that, and it's just going to save you so much trouble. Like, sure, you can come up here with your spears, but at the same time, like, you just wall this off. Just wall these little choke points off, and you're absolutely in such a better position. You don't have to deal with all these constant attacks coming in. Sounds like the Springles are trying to get shots in as well. Villagers going to have to be falling back. You can see just how many villagers that is as well. That's 20 villagers that are going idle right now. Every second that they go idle, that's a villager second that is idle. But speaking of idle, looks like Textual Cloud on the other side of the map going to be forcing his opponent to go idle. Hut, a little bit of a head scratch right now. He's like, spears can't raid. That's illegal. Well, Hut, I assure you it is not the case. They are more than capable at raiding. They've done a pretty decent job, but just unable to run away. That's the main difference there. Springalds and Mangonels going to be firing off down at these villagers. Not a lot of health left on these bad boys as they do go down. He's still got villagers behind here. He's got to be careful, though, because from up on this hill, he's going to be able to spot them going down. And if he gets these shots off, he actually manages to cancel the keep. That does go down. You can see the Nester Bees firing off. The Mangonel shots coming off through as well. He's going to have a bit of a difficult time trying to traverse there over the footprint, but now we see the Springalds coming up, being able to fire shots off on these Mangonels. It's going to take 3 shots to actually take them out, and now the villagers beginning to push up as well, looking to potentially siege with those, I suspect. That could be the case. He is indeed. He's going to be starting to siege with those villagers. Another raid up towards the north. Still hasn't walled. Doing the no-wall challenge at this point and really starting to wonder exactly what he's up to. Score beginning to build up now for Hut. He's up about 2,000 points at this point. And he's definitely got quite a bit of a lead. 3 Springled shots coming in on that Mangonel. Going to be able to take it out. Second Mangonel survives, manages to get out of there, just taking 1 shot at this point in time. Second shot going to be coming in. It's got 16 health left. It's got villagers here on the front line if he needs to heal that up. The raid's still happening back here. Hut just being absolutely oppressive. And this is what he's famous for. This is part of the reason why he's such a good player. He manages to get these absolutely ludicrous raids off all the time. Constantly through the enemy's base. Constantly being annoying. Killing villagers. Whereas look at him. I mean, he's just absolutely... There's no threat to him. He's got villagers out here. You know, he's got plenty of villagers out on this side. Wait. Where's the trebuchet? Why is it selecting a trebuchet? I've got like a random... It's randomly selecting this trebuchet. That is the weirdest bug I've ever seen. Okay, now it's not selecting it. That was weird. I don't know exactly what was happening there, but that trebuchet really stretches a long way, it seems. But now, speaking of stretched a long way, it looks like Textual Cloud going to having to be doing some long distance mining because this mining camp is going to get burnt down. There it goes. Looks like the trebuchet did actually take it out, but now Springald's moving forward, and on the back line, it looks like we've got the Nester Bees Age up going to be coming through for Hut very shortly as those spears look to try and get a good connection with the Knights. Going to try and run them around. Give them the old run around. You know, even if we'd just seen 1 or 2 trebuchets coming out from Textual Cloud, I think we could have seen a methodical push from him and probably just a complete overtake in the middle. High armoring now going to be coming down in the middle here. Now, he's got the 3 siege workshops at the front here. Now, typically, I would not advocate for a high armoring on the front line, but when you've got 3 siege workshops down here, it's very expensive to relocate them, so it just makes a lot of sense to be putting them down in this position. I like where he's got it as well. It's kind of like wedged in between the 2 keeps, so it's probably going to be safe. You could go up front on this side as a potential option, but then you do open yourself up from this angle here to lose that. So a pretty smart move, and you can see now that it looks like Goliath, aka Hut, will get punished from this angle potentially as the Palace Guards do look to get out there. 152 population for Hut. He is up in the Imperial Age. He's going to be able to get these upgrades, so we can see Banded Arms coming through. Once this upgrade comes through, together with this one right here, Roller Shutter Triggers, Hut is going to have an absolutely easy time going up against these Springles, and I'm going to show you guys exactly why it is that when it comes to the late game, China is not the absolute king that you think it is. It's actually the Rus, because these guys are incredibly difficult to stop. I would be very surprised at this point if Hut wasn't able to close out this game, especially considering the fact he's made it up to the Imperial Age, he's managed to maintain his strength in the middle here, he's got the control of the Sacred Site, and really, it sort of begs the question as to what his opponent could do. So if I'm in Textual Cloud's position, what am I even doing at this point? It's really hard to say. I wouldn't be going for mass bombards, because normally as the Chinese, you're going towards that. That's one of your win conditions, to go for mass bombards. He never actually got this down. That's yeah, interesting to see. I would probably just be going for like mass elite men-at-arms, but then again, you're going up against Streltsy. Like, you're going to need to mix in a couple of bombards. I think it's just going to be about sort of killing your enemy's Springles and then getting your bombards in to kill buildings. 13.5 range. Compare that to the 10 range. There's no comparison. There is literally no comparison. 13.5 range versus the 10. Now, keep in mind, these Springles will go up to 12 range once he gets up to Imperial, once he gets Roller Shutter Triggers. But it's absolutely impossible to deal with these in the late game. There's literally no counter to them. Now it seems like Textual Cloud knows what he needs to do. So he's doing the right thing. You cannot directly fight this engagement anymore. That is it. It's impossible at this point to do that. So he's doing the right thing where he's coming down here. Once he gets up to Imperial, he's going to be able to do it. So he's going to be able to get these upgrades, so he can get Battle Hardened. He can look to get the Elite upgrade and really start doing a lot of damage. But you can see he's struggling at the moment to get up to the next stage. He's got 114 villages, so definitely, you know, nothing to sniff at. But still at the same time struggling a lot. Spears now moving out towards these Elite Horse Archers. You can see they're trying their best. He's got the upgrades for them. He's got precision. And he's going to be chasing away these spears. This is where the difficult composition comes in. You've got mass Springles, you've got the Horse Archers, and then once the Streltsy come out, that's really where the GG starts, because those guys are able to push in very effectively. A couple of Horsemen out at this point in time as well. A little bit of a curious decision. Spirit Way going to be going up in the back of the base. Nope, Spirit Way coming up towards the north here. So a bit of a curious spot for the Spirit Way. Typically, you'd want it right here, so you could put stables around it. But obviously, players opting away from the stables now that they're not as strong as they used to be, those Fire Lancers. He's going to be dropping barracks down. Now, keep in mind, Spirit Way doesn't actually reduce the cost of any units at the barracks. He is dropping a whole bunch more barracks. So I think he's doing the right thing. This is definitely the play that he wants to go for. Men-at-Arms, or rather, Palace Guards with the full upgrades. The issue that he's going to have is that he's on a timer. And that timer is this Sacred Site here. So we don't know how much longer it's going to be before this Sacred Site is actually able to tick over, but hopefully we will get the message. When it comes to economy, 97 villages for Hut. Behind this, obviously, got 5 of the 5 relics. He's got the Sacred Site in the middle, so 600 gold a minute passively. So he's very happy with that. Compare that to his opponent, who sits on 117 villages, so quite a good amount of villages. But now those walls are going to be coming down as well for Hut, and he is looking to secure up the majority of the map. You can see him just walling up right now and looking to secure up this point, and look at the villager numbers that he's got out here. Now it looks like the Horse Archer is going to be coming out for Hut as well, looking to try and turn the attention from his own base over towards his opponent's base. He says, come and chase me around. As long as you're chasing me around, then you're not going to be chasing, you know, the front of my base, and that's where I want to keep you away from. So what sort of mass have we got now for his opponent, Textual Cloud? As he looks to now come down towards this position, you can see their numbers are beginning to build up. He's got the Elite Spearman upgrade, still got the normal Palace Guards coming out. Villagers getting forced back here. Now, keep in mind, he's going to be able to provide you know, a little bit of recoil to these units, but he's going to be able to get out. I mean, Hut is just going to be able to micro and kite. There's no snare in this game. He's not going to be able to catch him unless he looks to, like, get a nice wall in along here. Like, that would be pretty much the only option that he would have. He's flanking right now with a couple of spears, a couple of palace guards, but you can see they're able just to run straight through. He's able to maintain the majority of his mass here, so managing to get out with 11 horse archers. He's having an absolutely great time. The main thing I would say is just if you could get, like, start walling it, start trying to segment your base a bit more, prevent these raids from happening, because these horse archers now continuing to do that, continuing to waste time, and that's really what your opponent wants. They just want you to be wasting time, because those bells are going to start ringing soon, and when they start ringing, that's when you are going to start singing the GGs, and you don't want to be singing GG. You want to be singing... maybe you want to be singing GG to your enemy rather than, like, singing it for your enemy, if that makes sense. Like, you still want to sing GG. Like, how would a GG song even go? Oh, I know it. It's the GGG. Well, DMCA. DMCA, Drongo. DMCA. But, majority of these units going to be getting taken out, it seems, as he tries to bring them back around. But you can just see, like, there's 30 units here chasing, like, just a handful of units. And it's just such a bad investment of time, of resources. So for Textual Cloud at this point, he's sitting 200. He's got a whole bunch of Springalds out. He hasn't got the upgrade for them. Oh my god, he hasn't got the upgrade for them. He has no roller shutter triggers. Oh god, this is going to be terrible. Okay, he needs roller shutter triggers at this point, especially behind the walls here. Like, there's just nothing that he's going to be able to do. So needs to bring the bombards out, create a hole in this wall, charge through, bring the bombards in behind, get on top of the Springalds, and then use the bombards to siege down the keeps and then look to take the sacred site, pumping in reinforcements. That's the way that you take this. You can't really do it with Springalds. You can't go Springalds up against the Rus Springalds. It's just not possible. It is not feasible. You cannot do it. Horse Archers having an absolutely great time here, but now they're going to be dealing with a lot of surface area from these spears. You can see how many spears have actually been taken out. Spears need to get in on top of this artillery, on top of this siege. There's not a lot of them. Down towards the... Where are those? All those extra spears that we saw? There was a whole bunch of them. Have they made their way forward just yet? I don't even know where they are. You know the ones I'm talking about. Bombard does go down, so you've got to be so careful with those bombards. And now look at the castles that have actually come up at this point from Hut. This is so difficult to deal with because these castles are almost fully upgraded. He's got the high armoring in here, providing that AoE as well to the siege. The siege workshop's able to continue getting out those really cheap bombards. And at this point, it's like, you can't push into this. This is just, it's impossible to push into unless you're sitting at full, you need to be full population. So you need to be full 200. You need to have all of your barracks ready to go. So if we do a quick look, he's got 15 actually, that's Hut. He's got 15 barracks, the exact same amount. So there's the first bell going off. 3 minutes at this point in time. So he's got 15. Needs to be going Palace Guards. So only Palace Guards. But you can see he's just struggling a lot right now with his economy. No gold at the moment. This is his only source of gold. And you can see exactly what's going to happen when Hut begins to push out, trying to get this keep down. But the keep is pointless. You know why the keep is pointless? Because there are bombards in here. These bombards are going to one-shot this keep. It's literally pointless. I mean, they're not going to one-shot. It's going to be about 2 shots. But yeah, you can see it's just going to be a constant struggle to secure this area. All the spears coming out. This is not the right decision either. They're just going to be taken out by the mangonels. So a little bit of a misplay coming out from China. Ideally, these need to be those men-at-arms, but keep in mind he's got those palace guards. But keep in mind he doesn't have any gold at the moment. All of the gold is in a potential place where it's just going to get taken out by his enemy. Falling now underneath these underneath the keeps. You can see that the boiling oil is just coming out on top of it, and all of these units just getting completely shredded behind this. Look at all the siege that sits under here. 9 Springalds, a bombard, 2 mangonels, villagers under here as well repairing. You're not going to get through this. This is why the Rus late game is so damn strong. It is impossible to deal with this. 2 minutes until Sacred Defeat now coming through as well. Textual Cloud absolutely struggling as the Streltsies come through. Insufficient wood coming out for Textual Cloud. He's not going to be able to hold this one up. 80 health, and it does go down. The bombard doing its best. And now Textual Cloud looking like he is indeed in a bit of a cloud, a puff of smoke. I don't know exactly. I'm trying to make a pun out of Textual Cloud's name, all right? Give me a break here, guys. 136 population for Textual Cloud, 172 for Goliath. Hut with 3 castles, Sacred Site. Less than 2 minutes now remain for the victory to come out. And I don't see how Textual Cloud is in any possible position to win this. Not the villagers, not the villagers, not the villagers. Oh my lord, all those villagers. And Goliath wins the game. GG, Textual Cloud tapping out. Rus demonstrating the supreme late game tech right there. It just really goes to show how strong that Rus late game is. Fellas, if you're watching this on YouTube, I'll take you guys quickly through the statistics just so you can see exactly what we're looking at here. Villager counts relatively even throughout the game. Military counts probably very similar. The main thing that I'd want to see from that game, I don't even really know. I guess like idle villager count. 58 seconds. I mean, it's not really that meaningful. But anyway, if you're watching this on YouTube, I hope you guys enjoyed this cast. And I think that really goes to show which civilization is the best late game civilization, full stop. Because if China's got a weak link or an Achilles heel, it is the Rus. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one.